there and welcome to the channel, and in this video we are going to be talking to you about how to look after, care and plant your Red Forest Cactus, the Disocactus ackermannii. In fact, we have got one. Oh, there it is, just there. But before we start, there is a problem with its name, and that's a bit of a rarity in itself. I'll explain more in detail. Disocactus. Right, now every man and his dog in the horticultural industry knows this plant as Disocactus ackermannii, but it is not Disocactus ackermannii. That is not a hardy plant. This is a hybrid. It's a hybrid called Jenkinsonii, and because it's a hybrid, it displays hybrid vigor in its hardiness, and this plant is extremely hardy. Some would say half hardy, definitely, and quite possibly borderline fully hardy. So what is this plant? This plant, as I said, is actually Disocactus Jenkinsonii, a hybrid of two parent plants, Disocactus philanthoides and speciosus, both originating from Mexico. Now, the obvious difference between the two is in the central funnel there, and on the genuine ackermannii, that is like got a greenish end to it, and this one is more like a yellowish thing, so not much of a clue, but that is the clue nevertheless. So if you already have one of these, and that's all well and good, I can tell you how you should be looking after it. But if you haven't got one and you want to get hold of one, well, that's a little bit more tricky, because they don't generally sell these in the shops. You normally have to try and find a source online, so your best bet really is to check the adverts on eBay and Etsy and see if you can come up with one. But if you've got one, they are surprisingly easy to grow. Soil wise, they want something that is slightly acidic. Position wise, you're probably going to want to put it in partial shade. Obviously in the Mexican forest where they're growing, they will be under the canopy of a larger tree. It is an epiphyte, so its natural habitat is to be found in like the crooks in between the branch work and growing on that, but they will grow in soil absolutely fine. They will do both. So assuming you've got your right soil, you've got somewhere to put it. I mean, as you can see in our garden, I've got that hanging in a tree because I think it looks its best, but it doesn't have to be. It can be in a general pot. Water it fairly regularly, but it really needs to be very well drained soil, as you would expect in the crook of a tree. So you get a lot of rain, the rain will come down, it will just drain off. So keep it regularly moist, not waterlogged. Make sure whatever you're putting it in is really well drained. Right, and then we get to like the bitter pill of looking after this plant, because it's an absolute magnet for pests. Let me show you. Now, I've had this particular plant for about 10-12 years now, and every year I take cuttings. So there's another one up there. They take really easily from cuttings. All you got to do is you make your cut, you allow it to callus off for a couple of days, and then you pot it on. But every year, every winter, it's like the slugs, they know it's here and they find it. I don't know how they find it, but they always get in there. And what's more, I've never seen a slug on this little bugger, but it's so much slug damage. You know, it's an absolute nightmare trying to keep that one clean, and that's why I start new ones, and then even so, there's still slug damage on them. And the other problem that you get with them is that let's take a closer look at this little beauty. Now, when they are prone to getting munched away, I mean, look at that bloody great big hole in there, munched away by the slugs, then any kind of like callusing like that, you wouldn't really notice it. You just think that's where something's had a go at it, and the plant itself has sort of put a little callus on there. But if you look closely on the side of it, I don't know if I get that camera to focus properly, there's an edge. And the reason why there's an edge on that is because that isn't callusing. That is a massive scale insect. Now, we don't get scale insects like that in this country, so I don't know where the heck that has come from. Maybe it's on its holidays. Well, with regard to slugs, you need to put some slug management in. I mean, when it's in the tree, it seems to be fine, but slugs, they will climb trees, they will find your plants. Slug pellets aren't particularly good, so I probably wouldn't bother with those. So maybe if you're growing your Disocactus in a tree, then maybe put those copper bands around the trunk to prevent the slugs from going up. Equally at the base of the tree, or wherever you've got your plant planted, then put down some maybe beer traps, and you wouldn't be growing it in the ground in this country because over winters it would be far too wet. But if you're planting this elsewhere, somewhere much nicer, like the Mediterranean or the southern states of America, then beer tracks are probably going to be your best bet. Now regarding that scale insect, you probably want to have a go at it with something like this. A little spray with Bug Clear Ultra. Now these aren't sponsoring my videos, but I do find this is this year's new formulation or last year's new formulation. I find it very, very good. But when you're using insecticides, you do not spray when the plants are in flower, because the insecticide chemical will get into the pollen, and pollinating insects can take it away, kill themselves, kill their family. Of course, if all you've got is just the one scale insect, you always just pick that off. But this one's staying, and I'll tell you why. Because if you've seen in our earlier videos on this plant, this scale insect has become a family pet. We've named it Walter, shortened to Walt. You can see what I did there. And for now, it's going to stay. Unless it starts reproducing, then it's going to be end of days for Walt. So over most of the year, growing this plant's absolutely fine. You shouldn't really have any problems. Just feed it, I don't know, 2 weeks monthly during the growing season, and again make sure it's kept moist but not waterlogged. But it's come the winter that you need to put a bit more work in, especially in the UK. You can do the easy thing, and that's just take it off the tree, put it in a greenhouse, put in your slug protection. Alternatively, at least here on the south coast of England, most years it tends to get left out. You usually just put it under the eaves in a warm part of the exterior of the house, and it stays up there. Sometimes I put a bag over it. It's going to get very cold, and you know, it's been out in the garden. It's never been brought in, never brought it in, and not last year but the year before, temperatures went down to -7, -8 degrees, and yes, it had protection on it, but it survived quite happily. Last year was -5, quite happily. But on the RHS website, my favorite website, it has a hardness of between, I think it's between 10 degrees and 5 degrees Celsius, but yeah, that's not right. It's much, much harder than that. Regarding its flowers in June, and you get a succession of flowers. They don't all open up in one go. They'll flower over a period of a few weeks, and each flower, they're fairly short-lived. They only last for about 4 days, 5 days, but it takes a while. I mean, those buds, they do stand for a long time, and we've had those buds emerged 4, 6 weeks ago. So there's been quite a long time since you've had the flowering. But once they've finished, they'll fall off, and that's the end of it. But honestly, have you seen a more strikingly red, exotic-looking flower in all your life? Let's take a closer look. I mean, that is a massive bloom. That's probably a good 6 inches across. That's it. When we've got these huge long stamens coming out. Some people say that's insect pollinated, although others are saying that it's also bat pollinated, though you won't get bats pollinating it in this country, not that I'm aware of. You just don't seem to know what a good meal looks like here. So there you go. That is how you look after, care, plant your Disocactus ackermannii. I think the only thing I missed out was that you water sparingly over the winter. It will dry out, and you can leave it to dry out for a few weeks and just give it a small amount of water. At the end of the day, it's all about excellent drainage with these plants. Anyway, if you've got experience with these, anything you'd like to add, or any tips, any great tips that you want to add to it, then do so. Put that in the comment section. We would love to hear from you. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Right, now, just before you go, if you want to see more content, more behind the scenes stuff, and images that I've taken of some weird freaky plants over the years, then you're in luck, because we've created an Instagram page. So you can find the link in our description. You can find the link on our main page, and if I'm clever enough, I might be able to get a link somewhere up there. Anyway, thank you for watching, and if you want to see more YouTube stuff, then check out this video here. That's quite a good one. And if it doesn't float your boat, then another one right there. And enjoy these while I've still got the strength, imagination and aptitude to make them. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.